All right, let's set the scene. The year is 208 AD. The warlord Cao Cao is at the absolute height of his power, poised to conquer all of China. But then, disaster strikes. He suffers the single most devastating defeat of his entire career, and his grand ambition goes up in smoke. Now, in this moment of total failure, fleeing the battlefield at Red Cliffs, who does he blame? His generals? The weather? The enemy? Nope. He beats his chest and cries out for one man, a man who is already in his grave.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Who on earth was this guy? This one advisor whose absence, in Cao Cao's own mind, was the only thing standing between him and total domination. Well, today, we're talking about the one and only Guo Jia.
See, Guo Jia, whose style name was Fengxiao, wasn't just another smart guy in a room full of strategists. His brand of genius was different. It was deeply psychological, almost scarily predictive, and he did not play by the rules.
In fact, the term they used for him was Gui Kai, which translates to ghostly genius. And that's not just a fancy nickname. It implies a kind of talent so brilliant it feels almost supernatural, something unconventional and hard to pin down. For Guo Jia, it was the perfect description.
And that unconventional streak definitely rubbed some people the wrong way. You had guys like Chen Quan, a real by-the-book moralist who was obsessed with proper conduct. Guo Jia, he cared about one thing, results. Chen Quan actually tried to get him impeached over and over again for his behavior, but Guo Jia just shrugged it off. And Cao Cao, he just let it slide, because Guo Jia kept winning.
You can see this sharp insight right from the get-go. Early on, he had a chance to work for Yuan Shao, who was, at the time, the most powerful warlord in the entire country. But Guo Jia took one look and walked away. While everyone else saw an enormous army and vast resources, he saw a fatal flaw in the man himself. Yuan Shao was indecisive, and Guo Jia knew right then and there that a man who couldn't make a decision could never unite the empire. So he went looking for a better fit. In 196 AD, Cao Cao's chief strategist had just died, and he desperately needed a replacement. The famous advisor Xun Yu recommended this young, brilliant, but kind of unruly kid named Guo Jia. So the two of them sat down, talked about the state of the world, and, well, the rest is history.
It was an instant connection, a true meeting of minds. After just one conversation, Cao Cao declared that this was the man who would help him achieve greatness. And Guo Jia said he had finally found the Lord he'd been searching for. It was the start of an incredible 11-year partnership that would basically redraw the map of northern China.
So, this amazing partnership was formed. But how did Guo Jia's unique mind actually lead to victory on the battlefield? Oh, he didn't just talk a big game. His foresight won campaigns that, by all rights, should have been impossible. Okay, his most famous moment? Probably the 10 victories analysis. Cao Cao was about to face that same Yuan Shao, and he was terrified. Yuan's army was way bigger. But Guo Jia laid out this brilliant psychological breakdown. He said, forget the numbers. This isn't about resources, it's about character. He argued that Cao Cao's decisiveness, his trust in talented people, and his practicality would always triumph over Yuan Shao's indecision, his paranoia, and his obsession with ceremony. It completely changed Cao Cao's mindset and gave him the confidence to fight and win. But if you want to know why they called him a ghostly genius, you have to hear this next story. So while Cao Cao's main army is tied up fighting Yuan Shao, panic erupts back at the capital. Word has arrived that the little conqueror, the ferocious young warlord Sun Si, is about to launch a lightning-fast surprise attack. Everyone is terrified. In the middle of all this chaos, Guo Jia is the only one who's completely calm. He basically says, don't worry about it. Sun Si is powerful, yeah, but he's also reckless. He's made too many enemies and doesn't watch his back. And then he makes this chillingly specific prediction. Sun Si will be assassinated by some nobody before he ever even gets his army moving. And wouldn't you know it, a few weeks later, that's exactly what happened. That wasn't magic, it was just a razor-sharp psychological profile. His final masterpiece was his most audacious. After Yuan Shao's defeat, his sons fled north to ally with the Wuhuan tribes. Every single one of Cao Cao's other advisors said it was too dangerous to chase them, but Guo Jia saw an opportunity. He argued that their main rival in the south, Liu Biao, was what he called a drawing room conversationalist, all talk, no action. He knew Liu Biao wouldn't attack their rear. So, Guo Jia proposed a daring plan, A lightning-fast strike with a small army, taking a route no one would ever expect. Cao Cao listened, and it worked perfectly, securing his entire northern border once and for all.
But that final, brilliant victory came at a terrible, terrible price. The brutal northern campaign completely broke Guo Jia's fragile health, and this leads us to the great tragedy of his story, and the ultimate what-if of the entire Three Kingdoms era.
He was only 37 years old. 37, just think about that. A mind that brilliant was gone, just as it was reaching its peak. Cao Cao was beyond devastated. At Guo Jia's funeral, he revealed something truly incredible. He told everyone that he had planned to entrust Guo Jia with everything after his own death, meaning he was going to make him the chief regent for his son and heir. So for Cao Cao, this wasn't just losing his best strategist. He had lost the man he was counting on to protect his entire legacy.
And the timeline here just says it all. It's so stark. In 2007, with Guo Jia by his side, Cao Cao achieves this incredible victory. Just 1 year later, without him, he marches south and suffers the worst defeat of his life. Which brings us right back to Cao Cao's cry of anguish on that burning river. Could one man, Guo Jia, have really prevented the disaster at Red Cliffs? It's a question that historians and fans have been debating for almost 2,000 years.
Now, there are really two main camps here. The first argues that, of course he could have. His psychological genius would have seen right through the enemy's deceptions, the fire attack, the fake surrender, all of it. But the other side argues, hold on. Guo Jia was a master of northern politics and land warfare. What did he know about the South? About fighting on rivers and complex naval tactics? It was a totally different ballgame.
In the end, we can never know for sure, but that question is exactly what makes his story so legendary. Guo Jia remains the ultimate what-if of the Three Kingdoms period, the ghostly genius whose tragically early death might just have changed the course of Chinese history forever. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?